Now once we have all that, we can actually call the function. Calling a function means that when our code reaches the line where we call the function, it jumps into the function's code. It then runs the function's code until it finds a return statement or the function otherwise ends, and then it returns and picks up where it left off in the regular code. So in some ways, a function call is like saying, go to that other code over there and bring this input with you and tell me what the output is. The execution of the code then goes into that function, runs the function's code, and then returns to the main code. To call a function, we would write the function's name and then give it the input to provide the function's parameters. We call the input provided to the function in the function call arguments. This is nearly identical to variables and values. Variables are names which are assigned values. Parameters are variables for a function that are assigned values called arguments when the function is called. So parameters are like variables and arguments are like values. In our addition example, the addition function had two parameters, addend1 and addend2. When we say, hey, add 5 and 2, 5 and 2 are arguments which are loaded into those parameters. So when the function has the code addend1 plus addend2, those are variables that are loaded with the values 5 and 2. Then the function would return the sum 7. This would jump the execution back to our main code, where the function call asking the function to add 5 and 2 would basically just be replaced by the value 7. Now those are the parts of the function call, calling the function by name and providing the arguments, and then receiving and being replaced by the output. Now note that not all functions in all languages have return statements. Some might not need to return any output to the main program. For example, a function to save a document might not need to tell the main program anything. It might just simply need to write the file on its own. Similarly, not all functions require any input. For example, a print function might be called without any input, and the computer would know just to print a blank line. And finally, note that our notion of scope still applies to functions. In order to call a function, it must be within the scope of the code we're writing. Different languages define this differently, but it's worth keeping in mind.